Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This is Angels Speak, and I am Teri Angel. I come on every day and bring you all a message from the angels. I receive those messages every night as I sit in meditation with them and ask them, angels, what do we need to know? How can we get some help here for this thing called life? And every night I'm guided to talk about something, whatever comes in, and I then ask them their opinion or their help with whatever that looks like. And boy, do we ever need help right now, don't we? If ever we needed help on this planet, right now is one of those times for that, for sure. Hello, NE7. Thank you for being here. So I'm not just on TikTok. I am also on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I think that's it. I go everywhere I can go live and get this message out there to others. So welcome. Hi, Luz. Thank you for being here. Tap the screen to share. Okay. I don't know what that means. It gave me a heart. So, thank you for being here, Luz. Yes, please share this out. There is so much that we need to hear in these days to really understand how to just make it day to day, sometimes minute to minute, right? I mean, there's just so much that that we can get guidance on. And so that's what I ask for every night. So thank you all for coming in. I see some of your beautiful names flying through here. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the shares. And I'm going to be reading the blog that was written. Whatever they give me the night before, I come on at this time every day, and I read that blog and then give you an opportunity. If you, okay, I can't read this. When people tab not you, it shares your message. Okay, I don't, so other people listening have to tap the screen. Okay, I got it. See, I'm new to this going live on TikTok, so thank you for your help, Luz. I really appreciate you. Hello, Montserrat. Thank you for being here. Oh, how beautiful. All right. So, don't know where all my Facebook family is, but Annie is here and Grayson. Thank you for being here. Please share this out. And I'm going to go ahead and start reading the message from the angels. And let's just see what they have to say and see if there's anything that you want to respond to this message. Because I tell you, they have been really deep lately. They've been really helping us to understand more about what it means to live in these days and time. We're struck with so much stuff in the world, so many happenings and so many things that we try to wrap our brain around. And it just, some of it just doesn't make sense, does it? It's like we sit back and we're going, what the heck? What's going on here? That the world has changed so much. And Annie says, I know the angels don't want me to feel inadequate. They want me to see myself as they do, as crazy as me. Yes, exactly. The angels have a sense of humor. So when we laugh at ourselves, they laugh with us. And that's the fun part, isn't it? Thank you all for the likes. Thank you for the shares. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get into the message that they brought. And let's see what you all think. I think this is a really interesting message. It's called, Let All You Do Be Done in Love. And wow, sometimes, as we're going to hear, that's not quite as easy as it sounds, is it? Act as if what you do will make a difference. It does. And that's from William James. I was having a discussion with my friend Jean tonight, and the quote of If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all came up. Wouldn't it be such a different world if we actually followed this? It is so easy to do with people we like and admire. The niceties just roll off our tongues. But what about those that we have issues with? Those we choose to bash because we disagree with them or just don't like something about them. Then it gets a bit more difficult, doesn't it? Why do we feel it's okay to speak unkindly about others based on the fact that we do not agree with them, or we don't see things the same way they do? Why do we want to come out of our lane and make our voices heard with the myriad of other voices to verbally assault an individual or even a group of people? Whenever we do this, we are stepping out of our hearts and letting the human ego take over. Radio host Bernard Meltzer offered this advice: before you speak, ask yourself if what you are going to say is true, if it's kind, if it's necessary, and if it's helpful. If the answer is no, maybe what you're about to say should be left unsaid. Dear angels, so many times we can be so unkind in how we treat our fellow humans. We were taught by Jesus to let all that you do be done in love. How can we get past the characteristics of those who we judge so we may show kindness to them? Dear ones, indeed, the teachings of the great master can at times seem very hard to adhere to. It may help you to remember that the one or ones that you are passing judgment on are just as much a part of the oneness as you are. They may be exhibiting characteristics that you deem going against their fellow man and or God. However, it is not your call to cast them out as unlovable. No one made you the judge over your fellow humans. Your job is simply to love. Remember that love is patient, love is kind, and is not jealous. Love does not brag and is not arrogant, does not act unbecomingly. It does not seek its own, is not provoked, does not take into account a wrong suffered, does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices with the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. Anything other than love coming from you means that you have deviated from your sole purpose and your mission for being in your human experience. We understand that it is easier to show love to an innocent baby than it is to a murderer. Dear ones, the Master never taught us to differentiate when loving, but to simply love. It is not for you to withhold the spark of love inside of you based on what a person does. That is not for you to decide, and definitely not for you to discriminate. We know that many have an issue with this teaching. Your human self wants to separate out the good and the bad, the worthy and the unworthy. It gets even harder when the actions affect you on a personal level. Dear ones, love is hard sometimes, but only as hard as you allow it to be. If you are excluding others as you pass out love, then you missed the lesson of oneness. We encourage you to stop the judging and see only through eyes of love. Remember that every interaction you have with others, whether in person or through your thoughts, is an interaction with yourself. Give that some thought and some time to fully comprehend it. Be kind, be gentle, be loving in your thoughts, your words, and your deeds. Dear angels, thank you. I love you. Today, I promise to remember that I am each person I perceive to be outside of myself, and therefore show only kindness with no judgment. Wow, for me, this is one of the hardest lessons in living on this earth plane. It really is, isn't it? Thank you, Shell, for being here. I completely agree with this. Yeah, when we think about it, we're not supposed to withhold love from anyone, but yet we see what we consider the wrongs that are being done in the world, people that are going against their human counterparts here, people killing for no reason, people hating on each other, people excluding others. And that's very hard for us humans to get beyond, isn't it? It's very hard to stick to these words of let there only be love. Just whatever you do, do it with love. Because if I'm judging that person who went out and shot into a crowd and killed people, then I can't love them. I can't judge and love at the same time. And what the angels are saying, it's not our job. It is not our job to judge. We might have opinions about it. We might have the thought that it was wrong, but that's a judgment in itself, isn't it? I would love to hear what you all have to say about this message and how you deal with it. How do you deal when there's so much that happens that's hurtful? There's so much that just we can't comprehend the why of people when they do what they do. And it's just so harmful to those of us and put us in a state of fear. If you don't even want to go out anymore because you're afraid that you'll be in the wrong place at the wrong time, that's no way to live either. We went through, what has it been now, 3 years of this pandemic, living our life in fear, living our life behind closed doors because we were afraid to go out. We were afraid of what might happen when we encountered another human being. And now, with all of the things that's going on, it's like, are we just going to keep living our life in fear? Muncie says we can't judge something we don't know. It's hard because everyone has their own story. That's why they're saying don't judge. Don't judge another. Allow each person to be who and what they are. They have to deal with their actions. They have to be the ones to respond when it's their turn to leave their human body. And they have to say, okay, I did that, and really own up to what they did. Luz says, as humans, we can agree and disagree, but the angels are right. We can't judge anyone. Yeah. And on Facebook, we have Prachetta. Thank you, Prachetta. She says, what a message. And Deirdre is here. Thank you, Deirdre. Prachetta says, I turn to God and let go. Totally surrender it to God. Yeah, that's all we can do. I mean, what can we do? Judging is just going to keep that energy alive. It's just going to keep it going in that direction of separation. It's right or wrong, good or bad. That's a separation mentality. So when we start saying, oh, I don't like what that person did, or what that person did was totally wrong. And, that's something that as humans, that's what we do. We look at things and we separate it out into things we like, things we don't like, things that are right, things that are wrong, things that are up, things that are down. It's the world of contrast. But what we're being told by our higher self and by the angels is no, just love. Just look at each person that's here, just being, on this planet at the same time we are, and just see the best in everyone instead of looking for what they did wrong or judging what they did as wrong. And then just be. When we can reach that point of saying, okay, I know that that person has done some really horrible things. And that's not a judgment. That's just a fact. When you go into a crowd and you start shooting people, that's a horrible thing. But we don't have to call it right or wrong. We don't have to judge them. We just acknowledge, yeah, that happened. I'm just going to love that soul because that person, that individual, has a responsibility at the end of the day, when all is said and done, when it's time for them to take their last breath, they are the ones that have to own up and say, yeah, I did that. And whatever the lesson is that they got from it, they're playing the bad guy. They're playing the part of the contrast. We are those that are watching it and observing it happening. We are the ones that are mirrors, and we're seeing what they did as a mirror back to us. Where inside of us do we potentially have a shadow self that is capable of that? And that's another hard thought to have, isn't it? That we would be capable of doing such a thing. But when that person or those people that go out and commit these kind of acts, when they were an innocent child, I'm sure they didn't say, oh, I'm going to go kill somebody today. So something happened, something in their karmic past, or what their purpose for being here was, to understand something more fully, some lesson. They came to play that part of the contrast. And so that's what they're doing. And they're doing it well, right? Oh, thank you. Whoever said, I love you, Teri Angel. I love you right back. Thank you. And Monsi says, we have to love everyone and forgive them. Yeah, we do. Luz, thank you for the rose. Thank you so much for that. Lillian, hello for joining in. Wow, this has been a really deep message today. Some of these messages that they bring us lately, we have to really pause, don't we? And that's what I encourage you to do. As a life coach, when I work with people that are trying to wrap their brains around things and trying to figure out what the heck is going on, I always suggest that if it gets to that point of overwhelm where you can't understand something, you just don't know how to deal with it, just hit the pause button. Just envision that you're living this movie. You're the star of your movie. You're the only one that really matters in your movie. So when things get to that point of saying, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do now because it's just so overwhelming, step away. Just step away and hit that pause button and say, okay, let me just back up here. Let me open my eyes and be the observer. I'm not going to bury my head in the sand and pretend nothing's happening. I'm going to just sit back and be neutral about it. When we can get to that point of neutrality, some people call it 0 point, because you're not responding one way or another. You're not judging, you're not hating, you're not doing anything other than just being the observer. When we can get to that point in our life and look at what's going on, then we can start to deal. We can start to break it down. We can say, okay, how is this affecting me? Because we're all going through this life in our lane. This is our lane that we're in. This is our lesson, our blessing. This is what we came here for. And then look and see, how is that affecting me? Does it affect me? And what were those words? Is it true? If we're starting to talk about it, if we're telling other people our thoughts about it, is what we're saying true? Is it kind? Is it necessary to say that? This is one of the things that I've really come to realize over probably the last decade to 15 years now, is when something happens in our world, when something rocks our world, such as the events that happened over July 4th, the school shootings, all of that, that really rocked us. But what rocks us even more is the repetition. The news media, mainstream media, over and over and over again, droning that into us, saying this is what happened and telling us the same story over and over and over and over. And then that does a number on us. It really does. We get it the first time. I do. The first time I hear of an event that happens, that's all I need to hear it, because I get it. I hear what happened. I understand what happened. I don't have to be told 1,000 times that this event happened. But this is what has been taking place over the last probably 15, 20 years now. The news media gets hold of a story and they don't let go. And they want us to stay in the fear, to stay in the anger, to stay in the upset. But we don't have to. We don't have to. We hear it one time. And to me, that's enough. That's enough to know what happened. There was something that took place. And what can I do? How's that affecting me? What's my role here now in doing this? And I don't have to go spread the news to everybody. I don't have to tell everybody that I know about what happened, because that's already taking place. That's already being shared out there over and over again, right? So what is my role? My role is, if I have nothing constructive to say about it, I don't need to be saying anything. The only thing that I need to be doing is love. Loving the people involved, loving those that have lost someone potentially, or have someone now that's hurt that they're having to care for. That's my only role. That's my only job. Just as the angel said in this message, my only job is to love. I'm not here to judge them. If I can do something, if it's a situation where I have skills and I can help, then yeah, I might feel nudged to do that. But it's not my job to keep spreading that message and reiterating it over and over again. It's also not my job to keep sitting and listening to that. There's an off button on that TV set, just like there's an on button. So we don't have to participate in that, what mainstream media does of keeping it revved up. Good afternoon, Cassandra Medina and Pat Moss. Good evening to you. Thank you all for joining in today. I try to keep this message short and sweet and to the point, and just share with you what it is that the angels wanted us to really think about, to wrap our heads, our brains around, and say, okay, how does that affect me? And how do I process what I'm being told? So I'll be back again tomorrow with another message. Look for me on all of the social media channels. Hi, Irma Coronado. Thank you for being here. And just stay in your hearts and stay blessed. And let's do the best we can to love on each other, to not judge each other, but to walk each other home. Home is in our hearts. And when we can do that, we'll find so much peace. We'll find more joy. We will find everything that our heart is looking for when we can stay in that energy of uplifting and adding to the higher frequency, instead of staying wound up in what's going on in the world with the lower vibration and the darkness. So thank you again for being here. I love you so much, and I'll be back tomorrow. Namaste.